Yeah, thank you, Antonio, and really, you're all very welcome here at JetBrains. So it's to be honest, at JetBrains, it's a long tradition of hosting meetups. So we love to do that. We really love communities, not only Kotlin community, but like other software development communities as well. So meetups are our thing. So that's why this office is very new, and we want to use this space for local meetups as well. So yeah, welcome. Um, yeah, my name is Vitaly Bragilevsky, and I'm a developer advocate at JetBrains. And our developer advocates, we are a very big team. We have about maybe 30 people in our team, and we all have different areas of responsibility. And Kotlin is not my thing. My main area is actually Rust programming language, but I'm the only developer advocate in Cyprus. So when they approached me, can I give a talk about this? I said, well, I can, because we develop advocates, we know something else, not just our main thing. And I'm going to talk here about Junie, and Junie is our AI agent for many programming languages, not just Kotlin. So I use it with other programming languages as well. So I know something about it. But in general, it's like an overview of how you use Junie and also how you use AI in general. And because I said that it's not my main area, I asked for help, and Anton Arkhipov is our the developer advocate who is Kotlin developer advocate. So I borrowed his ideas, his illustrations, because he's doing a great job explaining AI these days, how to write code with AI. So I thought that it might be a good idea to reuse his content as well. So thanks to Anton for providing me with some materials. But projects that I'm going to show you, and I will show you some slides and also demo. But demo projects, they are all mine. So not Anton, it's just what I usually do. And if you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any moment if you don't understand anything. So just we'll answer and continue. So no, not a problem at all. All right. So are you with me? Great. So coding in Kotlin with Junie. So when we talk about AI in general, using AI to write code, we actually use AI on different levels. So here is developed by Anton Arkhipov framework for describing how we use AI assistants. So how we use AI in our job these days. By the way, do you use AI in your job? Yeah. So it looks like these days it's almost impossible not to use it. So, sometimes it works for you, sometimes it does not work, and that's fine. And it's like any other tool. So what we at JetBrains believe is that not AI is something that's replacing developers. No. AI is something that actually helps us to develop software. So it's yet another tool. So we at JetBrains, we always develop tools for software developers. And that's why AI for us is another area for developing tooling. So we think a lot about how you use AI, how you use it to be productive. So that's the main idea. So when you use AI, you can do it like this. This is minimal level of AI assistance. You might use some completions, code completions. In IDE, we have code completion, usually when you press like they have name of your object and you press dot, and then there is some regular completion, not AI assisted. But these days, it's very difficult to decide what completion you are getting actually. Is it from AI? Is it from some deterministic algorithm from IDE? So you just have some small completion. And when you use it, you say, well, I know what I am doing. And you don't want AI or anybody else to interfere your work. So you still use some small level of completion, but that's fine. So this is the minimal level. And at this minimal level, you still can use AI. And usually you can somehow say, like explain to that AI plugin that you don't want much, but if it's just single line suggestion, then it's fine to get that suggestion. Or maybe you can switch it off at all. But that's the first level, when we almost not using AI. Then we are going to second level. You know what you want, but maybe sometimes you don't know how to do that. And in this case, you still expect some completions, but you are fine with getting like several lines of your code completed. Maybe you wrote name of your function, and then AI can decide how to implement that function. So this is second level. So you accept that. You say, well, depending on your actual tool, you can say, well, apply the whole suggestion, several lines, or you can apply them one line by line, or maybe word by word, like we usually allow to do that. So, but that's completion. So you write code, but you see, well, it looks like this completion is good enough. Let me accept it. So that's how it works. Then, in the third level, you know what you want, but the idea is that you want to get your code faster. So you don't want to type everything. You want to get completion, and not just based on something you already wrote, but something you specifically requested. So all AI tools these days support this mode. When you say, well, generate a function that does this, this, and this. So this is so-called in-editor code generation. So you write some minimalistic prompts, like really small prompt. You explain what you want to get, but not like do the thing, but just implement function with this specific goal. And that's also AI-assisted programming, of course, and you write code faster. But still, it's completing your code. So you write some parts, and then you ask to implement some boring stuff. For example, you can ask IDE to generate test case for this particular function, something like that. Level number 4 is when you know what you want, but you don't know how to get there. So maybe you have some idea on how to use these features. You don't know exactly. And in this case, you can use chat interface. So you talk to chat, is a ChatGPT or something else, and you say, well, I have this task. So please tell me main steps, how I approach it, what should I do at this time? And then chat gives you some ideas, some explanations, and then you try to implement it and maybe use other levels of AI assistance here. So you talk to chat, but you don't, once again, you don't say to chat, oh, implement the whole thing. No, you ask for directions, and then you follow those directions. And this is an important idea. So you don't ask to write the whole thing, but you ask for directions and you follow them. So you are in control, you actually write code, but use help from the chat. So these 4 levels, it's something that many AI tools allow you to do. But then there is another level. We call it directive coding. And this is not just AI assistance, it's agent-assisted programming. So we are starting to use some agent. So what is agent? Here is the idea. So we know that this AI thing is based on LLMs, large language models. With the previous levels of AI assistance, you work with LLMs directly, or almost directly. So it just completes parts of your code or answers your questions, but by completing your prompt with some statistically most probable words, sentences. But agent is something different. Agent provides you with some workflow, with some story. So you don't communicate to LLM directly. You use agent, some software, which talks to LLM on your behalf and asks questions, not questions that you wrote in chat, but questions that agent developer decided to put there. So in this level, you know what you want. You need help building this, but you ask your agent to generate code for you. Then you quickly review it, like review. Maybe if you don't like it, you ask to change something as a follow-up to this discussion to an agent. And then you accept, you commit everything, and now it's your code. So this is level number 5, where you say what to write. So this is more like you have a junior developer and you tell him what to do. And then you review the results. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're not happy. That's fine. And then there is level number 6, which is usually traditionally called vibe coding. It's, well, you still know what you want, but you have absolutely no idea how to do it. But you still need it. You want to build it. So you say to your agent, like, implement me this. And then you get something. Do you think that it works? Sometimes it works. And this level actually allows you to be like the most productive. You generate a lot of code. Well, I mean, not you, but your agent generates a lot of code. Maybe it's not of the best quality. And actually, like in my experience talking to other developers, what we see is if you are like very opinionated software developer, you know like about everything how to do that, then you are not that productive with this level of AI assistance because you are not happy with what you see with the agent suggestions. So you just try to fix small things because you don't like them, and you are becoming less productive here. So it depends on you. If you don't care, then you are the most productive with vibe coding. You just get whatever it gives you, and you accept everything. So when we talk about these 4 levels in IntelliJ IDEA, in our IDEs, you use so-called AI assistant. So it's a plugin. If you have this plugin, then you use all these levels of completion. You use this chat, and then AI assistant features are actually all over the IDE. We have a lot of AI actions, and they allow you to do different things, not just writing code. For example, you can generate commit messages. Like I have my personal story with the commit messages. When this technology just originated, commit messages were very bad. And they were describing not what is done, but mainly just words that were used in your committed code. But these days, AI-generated commit messages are, like in general, much better than what developers write. Like AI would never tell you like minor fix. No, it will give you precisely what is done in this commit. So this is also AI assistant feature. So that's the main plugin. And for us today, it's not that interesting because our main topic for this talk is Junie. So when we talk about those 2 levels, number 5 and number 6, it's Junie. It's yet another plugin. And you know that if you use other AI-based editors, you might know that they don't have this distinction. So we at JetBrains, we have this distinction. We have regular, like four levels AI assistants with AI assistant, and we have agentic approach with Junie, which is totally separate thing. And you can use them together, but they are different plugins. So you can have this one AI assistant, you can have Junie, you can use whatever you like, but the choice is not like you choose the plugin. The choice is which level of AI assistance you want to get. So if you are into agentic approach, if you want to generate a lot of code and you are not like really thinking about every single line, then you use Junie as agent. If you want to be in full control, you use AI assistant at different levels, and you use other AI features. Like we know for sure that some of our customers don't want AI assistants at all. So they disable AI assistant, they never install Junie, and that's fine. And if this works for them, that's fine. They won't last long in this industry, unfortunately. But at least that's how it works. All right, so these are levels. And now it's time for showing you Junie. So I will show you how to use it. Well, to be honest, it is very simple to use it. Because if it's difficult, then no one would ever use that. So I will show you how I personally use Junie. It's not a Kotlin project, but for this example, it doesn't matter. It's actually a huge code base which is implemented in Java. Maybe have you ever heard about these BlueJ things? No worries. Some folks know. So BlueJ is one of the most used Java IDEs. So this IDE for Java has millions users every month. But it is used in education. So if you learn Java at school or in some universities, then chances are you start with BlueJ. And it's like 30 years old project, very old one. And right now, like we have a project by bringing Kotlin to BlueJ. So the goal of this project is extending BlueJ with Kotlin so that you could learn Kotlin in BlueJ as well. So we need those millions of users of this IDE. So we want to teach them Kotlin. So that's an idea. As I said, it's like 30 years old code base, and it's Java. I learned Java maybe 30 years ago in university, but I work with this project by using Junie. And this is actually, you can see here my history. So a lot of things that I did, and they were all about doing something in this project. And what I want to show you with Junie in this project is how to actually, it's a one way of using Junie. So here I have this plugin. So it's just this, you can see this part of window. If you need, if you at some point you'll need to read something, I will make it bigger. But for now, it's not necessary. So here you have small window where you write your question, you write your prompt, and then you get some results. Now, there are two workflows. One is ask workflow and another one is code. Ask means you talk to your code base, like literally. So you have this huge code base and it's actually huge. So you can imagine that 30 years of development, they did something. So there are actually a lot of packages here, a lot of classes, and this is like real classic Java. So this whole BlueJ thing is all about teaching software development via object-oriented programming. So objects first, that's the main approach of this whole IDE. So, and in this implementation, a lot of classes, everything. And when you approach this code base, it's very difficult to figure out what's going on there. So one thing that Junie is very useful for is this, especially in this ask mode, is to ask what is in this code base. When you first approach any code base, you need to figure out what's in it, how it works, which principles are actually followed in this development. They might be like not written somewhere, but they are still there. So I asked Junie today to identify coding principles in implementing this project. So let's see here. So my request was, my prompt was, and now I'll make it bigger. So my prompt was identify coding principles used in this project. And then Junie started its job. So it looked at the files, opened Gradle files. You see it's all built Gradle, so it's not Kotlin, it's Groovy still. And then it did some listings, opened some files, explored something. And then as a result, it generated some markdown file with descriptions. And let's look at it. So this coding principles used in BlueJ Greenfoot project. So first, Junie find out that they use object-oriented programming, obviously, but they're serious about that. They use inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism, everything, and with examples. So this is something that was actually discovered by Junie. When you first approach this project, it's a good information. You know how it developed. Then it uses a lot separation of concerns, like important principle from object-oriented programming. So how like UI components work with user interaction, how configuration is managed and by its own system. Then it mentions that there is a lot of things about thread safety and concurrency. Examples of design patterns that were actually used in this code base. And if you are not into design patterns, and I know that these days many developers don't like them, like I used to when I started about design patterns many years ago, it was like thing number one. It's not anymore. But in this code base, we use observer, we use singleton, build the pattern, factories are there in this code base. It's also using dependency injection, and you can actually like find easily these classes mentioned here. I assure you, it's not hallucination by AI. No, it just looked at files which comprise this code base and tried to summarize it into this list of principles. Like defensive programming is here, a lot of exceptions, error handling here, some explanations about module architecture, documentation, everything else. So this document was generated by AI. And it's very helpful first step when you want to realize what's going on in this project. So once again, it's ask mode. So when you ask Junie to do something, to describe something about this code base. But then you can also ask much more detailed questions. And here are some examples. For example, so these are other documents which I generated here when I try to figure out what's going on here. So for example, here, what is this? Look, plan for supporting Kotlin in BlueJ incremental parsing system. So it's like list of suggestions, some solution proposed, everything generated by AI. So this ask mode is for coming up with some guidelines, with some description, some ideas, but not with actually writing code. But it is also very helpful. And in some cases, and I know that many people are doing that, they look at these ideas about how to do stuff, and then they start implementing them by themselves because they want to be in full control of their code base. So they don't want like those 5 and 6 levels of AI-assisted programming. That's fine, because Like in this old code base, it might be too risky to use unreviewed code generated by AI. So you see that these ideas, you think that they are fine, and you start implementing them by yourself. One other thing that was also implemented with Junie using this ask mode. Let me find another example. Actually, I actually, yeah, here. Summary of Kotlin changes. Look, this document summarizes changes made to this project to add Kotlin support by analyzing commits from February to April. So I literally asked Junie in ask mode to look at latest commit messages, and commit content of those commits, and actually figure out what was done. And then Junie was able to summarize these things. Like there was some compilation support, there was some parsing support, some initial integration. And this document was a good candidate for changelog or something. So it would take a lot of time to write all these document manually, but this was all generated. Because Junie is able to analyze your code base, history of your project, and then come up with very precise but summarized descriptions of what was done. So this is ask mode. If you look at this list, you see that some of, like, if you see this tick, then it means that this suggestion was accepted. Sometimes it was not accepted because I was not happy with the result, and that's also fine. And it does not mean that I accepted and then I just kept it as it is. No. Of course, I worked with this code, I changed something manually, but I would say thousands of new lines of code were generated and they were fine. So it allowed me as a single person to make some progress with this project. So this is extremely efficient. Yes, of course. And not only me, and also BlueJ developers, they were also very careful in looking at this code. Because I told them that much of the job has been done with AI. And for me, look, so I'm a developer advocate. My job is to look at new technologies. So if I am doing something like that, I am doing that not like a regular software developer, like engineer. No, my job is to explore this new world of new technologies. Maybe write a blog post about that. Maybe speak at some conference about this experience. So, but of course, there are developers from that side, from the BlueJ side, and I know for sure that they will be carefully looking at this code. So it means that I need to look at that code as well. Because it's like at the end of the day, if I'm committing something, I'm responsible for that. So of course, it was like in this project, and that's why it's not vibe coding. So this is more like that level 5 directive approach, where you ask to do something, but then you carefully review everything. With vibe coding, in the project of this complexity, where you deal with Java compiler, Kotlin compiler, when you implement parsers, like vibe coding is impossible. Just it won't work. But with this level 5, when you direct, you get a lot of code, you review it, and then you commit it, it works. So I want to show you Junie, how it works in the other mode, which is code mode, but not in this big project, but with something really simple. So I actually have empty project here prepared, and it's just empty main function. There is nothing here. And if we look at Gradle file, also almost no dependencies, just something for testing, and that's it. So it's really empty project. And I want to show you how to use Junie in practice. And we also try to see and analyze how it works. So now I'm switching to code mode. So it's code now. And now I need to come up with some prompts. And with prompts, we have this choice. So we can ask for something simple, underspecified, and then we'll get something. Or we can write like huge prompt describing everything that should be taken into account, and then look at the result. So we'll start with the first approach where we're just not thinking much, just several words describing what I want to do. And in this project, I want to implement some to-do list. So I will say implement Kata-based Kata Kotlin framework. To-do list application. I always try to fix those typos while I am typing, but of course it's not necessary. I will understand it anyway, but I still doing that. But I've learned that it's not necessary to say please and things like that. I don't do that anymore, but I still correcting my typos. Yeah, with minimal web UI. That's it. Implement Kata-based to-do list application with minimal web UI. So I give some information. I say, well, I want to use Kata framework because it's from JetBrains and it's great. I need to-do list. I don't need much of web UI, but I still expect some JavaScript, maybe some HTML generated. Well, now let's see what's going on. So one of the most important things with Junie is that Junie starts planning first. And here you can see, like, examine current main.kt file to understand its structure. Well, it's empty. Like, update build Gradle KDS to include Kata dependencies. So first it builds this plan. Maybe I should make it even bigger here so that you could read it, because it's sometimes it's really interesting. So it says implement basic to-do data model here, create Kata server, implement minimal HTML, CSS, JavaScript, web UI, test the application. So that's the plan. And then after creating this plan, Junie started to actually doing something. For example, we see that it already added something to our Gradle file. And while it works, we can look at this change. So what was done? And with Junie, you very often, maybe unified viewer will be better. So there is this Kotlin plugin serialization plugin, and then some Kata here, some dependencies, like a lot of dependencies added. So Junie knows how to add Kata. One thing is, though, like, this version is not the newest one, because they already have like Kotlin Kata 3 dot something. So it's not the best version. And this is something that we always have with AI, right? It's not ready to use the newest versions of those dependencies. But I will tell you more about that. Now it looks like it implemented some more files here. Edited main, what was added to main. You see all this green stuff. So I am using regular diff view from IntelliJ IDEA. So it's not Junie, it's just regular stuff from IntelliJ IDEA. So we have this server here started, and then there is some routing. You see that some of these suggestions were using deprecated stuff. That's fine for us. So some more configuration. All right. What's the current progress? Okay, so it says it's done. Well, before accepting this, let's run and see if it actually works. By the way, you see that we already in this application, we have some logging implemented and it was empty, remember. So we have some logging. Okay, so let's go here and see. There is some to-do list already. So this interface was maybe something like learn Kotlin. Okay, maybe one more task here. Deleting, does it work? Yes. And this was done. So, all right. So do we have something interesting in logs? No. What about this? Well, let me stop and run again. Okay, and look again. So it looks like we forgot about something. Like mainly, it's not persistent. So I run again, and at this time, I have no to-do list items. So, but this is like pretty regular thing when we're using AI. It's just, we never asked for that. Like we never mentioned that we need some persistence. We never mentioned anything about like database. So, but it works. You see that it works actually. Something it works. Well, it works. Yes, localhost. So it started server. But well, do you want deployment somewhere or?
Basic, locally things. Not really something that you can.
Yes. Well, why? If it works locally, you can run this application on some server. Maybe it's not the best idea because we never reviewed the code actually, but still it works. And this is more like that vibe coding level, right? So we just want to get some working version of something, and we usually call it in software development, we call it prototyping. Yes, if we are checking for some ideas. So let's accept this first thing. And what I always recommend, so if you're happy that it works, then it's a good idea to commit changes. And it's never a good idea to have like one AI operation and then it changed something, then another AI operation and it changed something, and then you are lost. What was changed when? So if you have something, commit it, you're happy with it, and then you do another AI request. That's how we do things. All right. So I'll commit these changes and then like also just not to think much, I will commit everything. So this will be yet another commit. Maybe let's ask, yeah, because of the font, it looks not great, but let's ask for AI assistant generated commit message. Add basic to do app with Kata backend and static client. Yeah, all right. And then some more information here. That's fine. All right. So now we ask Junie again. Again, maybe add persistence. Maybe with, I don't know, like something simple like SQLite database. Let's see. Yeah, by the way, we have this so-called brave mode here checked. What is brave mode? This is a little bit, yeah, warnings, of course. This is a little bit like my colleagues from UK told me that this brave mode is like if you read like real UK English, it means like you are stupid. You're never supposed to do that. Well, you are brave, meaning that you are completely stupid. We still decided to go with this name of this mode. And the difference is that when you switch it off, you are requested to confirm every operation with your IDE. Like if you want to run tests, you need to confirm it. If you want to run some command on your terminal, you need to confirm it. So these things. Well, they discussed a lot of options. They decided to go with this. So brave mode. So we hope, well, of course we have some checks. If AI tries to do something, remove everything like from root directory with force, it won't do that. But still, like it's running commands on your behalf on your computer. So if you're happy with that, just brave mode. If not, you will need to confirm every change. Yes. Well, it's not like sudo permissions. It's like regular user, of course. Regular user. Yeah, of course. You can delete files, for example, or do something else. So it is like in theory it is possible, because it's like, after all, it's AI suggestion. Things might go wrong, like in LLM somewhere. So we are asking to add some persistence here. And I'm using brave mode because I trust JetBrains, so everything will be fine. Yeah, and then once again, Junie builds the plan, and then just how to do that. It analyzes code base once again. So like open some files, and then adding some more stuff here. Does it? So let's. Okay, was it? Yeah, changes in, for example, here. What was added? Okay, we see that there is some real SQLite version added, some dependencies. So this is a nice thing here. So look, Junie decided to add the exposed library, which main library for working with databases for Kotlin, which was developed by JetBrains. And the moment this was added here to Gradle dependencies, at this very moment, IntelliJ IDEA decided that it's a good time to suggest using exposed plugin. So I don't have it installed here, but it sees that, well, this dependency is here, then why not use this plugin, right? I don't need it right now, but still it's a plugin for this particular framework exposed, right? How about, is it? It's still working. It's adding some code. You can see here that it works with different files. And actually, like in many cases, it's useful to read all those things. Well, you don't have to, but sometimes there are many good ideas there. So you can understand what is actually going on. So what usually is Junie is doing? It changes something, and then it tries to build this project. If there are any compile errors, then it tries to fix them. Then it runs tests if there are any. Sometimes it generates tests right in this mode. Run tests again. If they're not passing, then it tries to fix either tests or implementation. So this is what is called agent. Like with agent, there is some strategy, there is some logic behind it. And when this Junie agent was implemented, there were many ideas on how to do stuff. So all of them were implemented here, and now we see results. So how it works with our code. All right, so now let's check. Is it really persistent now? Once again, I am vibe coding here. I'm not looking at the source code. I just run it and see if it works. So how about this? Like new task 111 222. Okay. Now I will stop this. Yes, it's not there. All right. Run again. Yep. So it is persistent now. So it works. Let's see. Delete. Stop. Then maybe run again. Yep. So yeah, it worked. So when you start with an empty project, you still can do something really meaningful here. All right. But now our project is, well, we have quite a lot of things here. We have some packages, some, well, maybe not the biggest project in my life, but still there is some code here. All right. When you are starting a new project, sometimes it is much better to start not with empty project, but with a project, with a template project for your specific directory. So remember that thing that Kata was not the newest one. Sometimes better idea is to use some external project generator, or in IntelliJ IDEA we have new project wizard, and then you will get like the best, the newest project template. And if AI assistant, if Junie is given with this project, for example, here in this other example, I already have some dependencies, because in this example, I want to use compose multi-platform. And so I said, okay, I know which versions I need. I just go to the website and then created a project which is empty, well, almost empty. If you run it, like this project, if you run it, then then there will be something. Let's see, something like this. Some generated project. So it's compose for desktop is used here. So some other Kotlin library. So I already have this project, so it's not empty. Now, one other idea. Remember, I told you that there are several approaches. In the first approach, you just give it this very small prompt because you don't want to think about it. In the second approach, you prepare somehow longer prompt. And when I say longer prompt, I mean something like this. Look, I want to implement some like game. Like in this example, interactive tic-tac-toe game. And then I have a lot of requirements. There are rules for this game. And there is some description of user interface. There is some non-functional requirements. I want to have separated logic and UI. I know how to do state management in this project. To be honest, I didn't write this document by myself. It was generated separately by ChatGPT. And this is actually a very nice approach. So you don't want to have a single tool which does everything for you, because it might be not the most efficient way of developing things. So if in your experience some tools work better for something, then you use that tool as a first step, like here, ChatGPT, talking to him and asking to generate these requirements for this game that you want to implement. And then you feed all this stuff to your other agent that will actually implement all those requirements. And how I can do that? This is what I do. Let me copy the name of this file, and I say, like, implement game based on requirements in here, in this file. And now we can be sure that Junie will be able to read those requirements. And there is already a project, template project, and it's we see that it works. So we won't have any problems with dependencies because we have everything that we need here. And Junie knows that we want to use Compose UI, because we mentioned that in that document. So it looks like, well, this almost empty project, and it started doing its job. So the prompt in this case was actually a very big one, because we provided a lot of information about the application that we expect. And if you are a professional software developer, you can write those requirements by yourself. And the thing is that the more precise you are with your requirements, the better result you will get. So all these AI tools, they work based on your input. Like if you have a small input, small prompt, then the result will be, well, it will relate somehow, but it's very difficult to remember everything. Like in the previous example, we never mentioned persistence, and there was no any persistence at all in the first implementation. If we here have a lot of information, then we actually get everything mentioned. Sometimes it's not everything, but it's still, it gives you what you want. But as usual, like in those like fairy tales, be very careful about what you actually ask for, right? Because AI can interpret your ideas a little bit differently. And in many cases, AI will be absolutely correct with the interpretations. They are much better than we humans on this, because they understand the meaning of those words that we use, and we don't always understand those meanings. All right. I hope it will be done in a minute. Sometimes with Junie, especially with big projects, it takes a lot of time. Like having this Junie session running for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, it's pretty regular thing. So if you remember that one moment in life of software developers when they don't do anything because like their code is compiling. These days, their code is being generated by some AI agent. Yeah. So sometimes when it works, I just read what's going on here, just trying to figure out, well, what's going on? Does it work? Well, it works. Looks like it tries. There are some tests here and the project was empty. There were no tests, so it looks like it implemented some tests. All right, so we don't look at the code here. So let's try to run it. Does it work? Oh, it's tests. Those are tests. So those are tests. So I need to run something else. So maybe it's this main application here. Yep. Right. It looks like this time I am unlucky, so it doesn't work. And that's also always the case with AI, because when I tried it before, it definitely worked, and I guarantee you. But that's what happens. So and now with this vibe coding approach, we're in a bit difficult situation. So we need to explain to AI that something is wrong here, right? So, well, and for that we're using this follow-up session. So we are not accepting the result of this implementation, but we need to explain that something is wrong. So, like, I don't know how we don't see actual moves here. Is it? I don't think that this will be enough, but let's give it some time. Let it work for some time. I will actually go back to my presentation and show you some more slides. So these levels, we talked about them. Now, the thing is that when we are looking at the level of control over your code, it's actually opposite. So we had minimal level of AI-assisted programming, maximal level. But if we are talking about control, it's like absolute control here when you type everything by yourself. And it's almost no control there. And one of the most important ideas here is that depending on what you actually do, you can have different levels of control. Sometimes you need maximal level, sometimes you don't need at all. But if you want to move faster, you need to relax. You need to forget about all your opinions about software development. You just, if you want to move fast. sometimes we need to move fast, right? So this is very important. So by the way, it did something. Let's check again. Was it? Well, some changes were done. No, no, we're still not lucky. All right. That's how it works. So then it means that I had to like explain some better what was the problem here. Or maybe I can start again. Or maybe I can decline and change something in my explanations. So it's AI is non-deterministic, and when we work with it, we must know that it is not deterministic. So sometimes it's not deliver what we expect. So that happens. All right. Yeah. Yeah. No, with Junie, what you do, you accept everything, but it's up to you what you want to commit. Because if like you accept everything and then you go to your usual commit window and you see you look at those changes and then you actually decide what you like, what you don't like. So it's already a regular workflow from IDE. So as usual, you can remove any changes, anything. All right. So I'm almost done, promise. Yeah, of course.
For example, to cursor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can say like difference or some.
I actually there was a report, internal report in our company in JetBrains comparing those different levels, different tools, and the thing is that these days, depending on what you do, depending on how you do, sometimes Junie is better, sometimes Cursor is better. So, but it's definitely not the case that like Cursor is always better. It depends. So we know that right now Junie is a little bit slower than Cursor. So we know that. But we also know that results are in general, results are also better. The code generated is better, quality of code is better, and it takes more time to come up with these better suggestions. Of course, it's trying to give a lot of things quickly, and then those things are not the best usually. But as we saw here, sometimes Junie doesn't work. And then this is also the case with all other tools as well. So it also happens. So it depends. It's also a matter of personal choice, personal experience. So for many people, like we know, like we have, Junie was launched like several months ago, and we already have a massive fan base for Junie. Like people who are recording videos about Junie and selling that. It's just amazing stuff. So some people, of course, prefer Cursor. We know that. That's fine. We like competition. We always do that. All right. So several small things. So remember, we had this ask workflow and code workflow, two different workflows when you want to talk to your code base, when you want to generate code. So with the ask workflow, we really talk to the code base, and that's a good thing. Remember that we always like review code and commit, and it's not the best idea to add some more AI generated code on top of like uncommitted AI generated code, so that you always see the difference. It's important to be specific with prompts. What you are asked for, you get that, and not something else. One thing that I didn't mention is that in Junie, you can specify general guidelines. If you want to have Kotlin code like this, like this, like this, like you prefer data classes, you don't want to have deep inheritance trees, for example, like you can specify those things in special file, which is like .junie/guidelines md document. And then those guidelines will be, it's easy to find in the Junie documentation. So guidelines document, just general ideas on how you prefer your code to be written. And then Junie will follow those guidelines. And there are several projects on delivering the best guidelines But we know, like in software development, it's never possible to come up with a single like guidelines applicable everywhere. It's not going to work. But if you have those guidelines in your project and you put them in this specific file, then Junie will follow them. I also suggest to use specific project templates to make sure that you have all your dependencies in place before you start running AI because of these things with older versions. And also, if you need to be more productive, you need to relax your level of control. This is very important. Now, if you want to try Junie, well, as a developer advocate, I don't sell things, but I need to mention that we have at JetBrains, we have 3 levels of subscription for AI, and one is free, another one is so-called AI Pro, which is also included with all products pack. But with Junie, AI Pro is not enough. Like if you want to use Junie like daily, on a daily basis, then you will quickly run out of tokens for AI. So if you want to use it with Junie, because like a lot of AI is used there, then you need this AI Ultimate subscription. So this one is recommended for Junie. And like many people have a bad impression of Junie because they tried with AI Pro, and we say in advance. So this is not enough for Junie. It's not like this is enough for AI assistant thing when you just use chat-based interface. But Junie is doing like a lot of requests, like really a lot of requests. So you need Ultimate subscription to work with it. And in general, at JetBrains, we have other AI things as well. I mentioned a little bit about AI Assistant, those 4 levels, which are supported in all our IDEs. So this is Junie. We also have, like, for U-Track is our issue tracker. There's AI there. Datalore is a specific tool for data analytics. And we also have, like, this is JetBrains AI page. We also have this nice framework for Kotlin. If Antonio give me like 5 more minutes, I will show you couple examples for this framework. It's a new framework which was released in May, like very fresh, for implementing your own AI agents in Kotlin. And we also have Melom, and Melom is our own LLM designed specifically for code completion. So it was fine-tuned with several programming languages in mind. So this is a model which can be used like instead of like OpenAI models, Anthropic. It's specifically created for code completion goals. And then there are like external fine tunings for some other programming languages. So Melom. And now a couple of Cog examples. And we say Cog because it's from Dutch. It's to be honest, I don't know the exact meaning. It's like some specific Netherlands thing, because when you have an island inside some territory and then you have some dams and something like that, and you like remove water, and then like some place is called this Koog thing, and it's not Koog because it's Koog or even Koog, something like that. So here is the idea, like very basically. So you have this LLM, but you need to generate something on top of that. As I mentioned, there is simple interface. You talk to LLM, you get results, and go here and there. But sometimes you need some agent. And with agent, you mean some workflow or strategy. For example, chain of thought, like how to go from this to that, like something like reasoning style. Or you need to have a plan. Or maybe sometimes you need some interaction between different models. So if you want to implement something like that, then Cog is a solution for that. So agent, which has implement some strategy for working with LLMs. And then we can also use tools. And tools are literally everything that we can have in on our computer. So it's compiler can be a tool, web search is a tool, something external. These tools can be LLM based, they can be not LLM based, but the idea is that your LLM can call those tools like functions to give you something interesting. Yes, exactly, exactly. Because and then MCP provides you access to some other LLMs there. So this is when I was much younger, we did there was this thing called web services with a lot of specifications. And I remember teaching students about web services orchestration, where in XML file, you had to write a lot of things like call this service, call that service, and there was very complex things there. So we are getting there with AI models these days and AI agents. Some agents calling LLM calling some tools, those tools calling other LLMs. So this is where we are getting to. And I have a couple of examples here. I will just show you the code. Look, so 36 lines of code using this framework. I have my OpenAI API key. I'm creating a client. And this application actually translating something from English to Greek, because we are in Cyprus. So here is my sentence, and I want to use AI to translate it into Greek. This is my prompt for a LLM. So I'm telling, oh, well, you're a professional translator from English. So this is like system prompt. So this is something that is added to all other prompts. And then I say, well, you are given with a sentence, translate it. And I also urge not to do anything else. And user message is just a sentence. Now I execute this prompt using some OpenAI model and print the result. So let's run it. And I have that key somewhere. Είμαι στην Πάφο για μία συνάντηση. So if you need something to translate from English to Greek, you can use AI for that. And it's just 30 lines of code in Kotlin. And of course, on top of that, you can write a loop, you can have a file and translate line by line or word by word. Like you can do whatever you want. So this is not AI agent, but this is done with Cork to implement something like very simple, just single request to LLM. In one other example also, and this example is from official documentation for Cork, you actually explain how to work with it. So here's an idea. So you have a text and you want to analyze whether it's positive or negative. Maybe you can use it in some support line somewhere else. You don't reply on negative comments, for example, something, or vice versa. And you have some tools, and those tools are doing actual analysis. And with those tools, you give LLM some information. And here's your strategy. Like it's like a graph workflow. You say, all right, so you start with sending this message to LLM. If you get the result, then answer to user. If you don't get result, try to call this tool, and tool will give you additional information. If the tool is successful, give result to a user. If the tool is not successful, use another tool for getting some other stuff. So you explain all this idea, how you want to use your LLM with different tools. Those tools, they might be LLM based, or they might use some, I don't know, maybe machine learning stuff, or maybe some deterministic analysis. It depends on you. So it's how you implement them. But then you use them inside this LLM. So I will also run it, and we'll see how it works. So my sentence, give me some sentence. -1, or maybe positive. Junie doesn't work. Yeah, okay. I don't like it, but yeah, that's true. Doesn't work. let's see. So some logging, and now LLM is calling this positive tone analyzer, and then it is calling negative tone analyzer, and the result is it's negative tone. It's negative. And well, it's a little bit bigger. Several files here. So file with tools, file with this strategy, and the main function is here. So we are registering our tools and then running some code here, system prompt, and then like provide all the information to our AI agent. We have several events handled here. Yeah, and that's it. So below 100 lines of code. But then, like on top of this, you can implement a lot of other stuff, because like it's very easy to talk to LLM. Of course, like this with this framework, it's just several lines of code. All right, so I think that's it from my side. Sorry for being this late. I hope it is already here. So yeah, thank you very much.